Hi everyone, welcome. My name's Tracy.bish. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator from Central Victoria, Australia. It says I'm live, so hopefully I am. And today's a little bit different to my normal live. We have a workshop that I'm running and it's going to be a fundraiser for the biggest morning tea. So welcome everyone. I think I can see myself live now, so yay. So as everyone pops on, please pop on and say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Like I said before, this is a tea boutique workshop. We're using the tea boutique suite from the new annual catalogue, from the Stampin' Up annual catalogue. And we're going to make 4 projects tonight. And I have a special host code for anyone who orders tonight right through till Sunday night or Monday morning early. And I'm giving my full commission of 25% to the Cancer Council. So super exciting to be doing this for Cancer Council and the biggest morning tea. And let's hope that we raise some money. So I do have a couple of donations that have already come in. So a big shout out to Marion and to Sandy, who have both given me some money. But the easiest way for everyone is to place an order using the host code, which I'll show you in a minute. And then my full commission of 25% of your order, we will donate it to the Cancer Council. So super exciting. Hi Pam. Hi Deborah. All right, so we have a few people on. Welcome. I'm so excited to be doing tonight's video. Now, like I said, we have 4 projects in all. These are all using the Tea Boutique suite, and they're actually little treat holders. So I love doing little treats and things like that. So it's really cute. We've got handbags, we've got boxes, we've got different sorts of treats inside as well, which is always fantastic. Now, I'm not getting into any of the stuff that I usually go into, so my challenge, what's going on with Stampin' Up. We're just going to go straight into the workshop for the Tea Boutique, and we'll get going. So I'm going to pop the camera down. Please, as you pop on, please do say hello, interact with us, let us know where you're watching from if you're new. And yeah, always good to see who's watching and who's around. So let me pop the camera down really quickly. Here we go. All right, so I think that looks pretty good. So we have a new host code just for today through till Sunday. I will close this workshop out on Monday morning first thing. So anyone who places an order in my online store, and in the description of this video I do have my online store order link, and it should have this host code already linked when you click on it. So it makes it super easy if you're placing an order tonight. Now, let me just talk you through the beautiful Tea Boutique suite, and then we'll have a look quickly at the projects that we're going to be creating. So new annual catalogue, which is available now. I'm going to bring up the suites, which is on page 12 and 13. So it's this one here. Love it. I love my cups of tea, so this is a really great suite to be playing with. Great bundle, DSP as well, and we're bringing, with the DSP, it uses all of the new in colours that have just come out, so the 2022 to 2024 in colours, which is pretty much what we're using today with our projects. So let's have a quick look at the projects that we're going to create. This is a little handbag that holds a tea bag as well as a little bicky. So super cute. Marion's got a hot pack on. Oh, you've done too much gardening, Marion. Hi Rachel, how are you? This one here opens up. Another little treat box, and this is a self-closing treat box. And inside we have a mini roll and another tea bag. So I'll show you the products that I've grabbed at the supermarket to pop inside these treats. Very inexpensive treats to create. and really great little gifts that anyone would love. So this is a triangle treat box, and this one has a chocolate as well as one of those coffee pouches in it. I'll show you those in just a second. And then we have another little box here. Undo it. This is Orchid Oasis, one of the new in colours. Opens up, and we've got some Biscoff biscuits and a tea bag. So super cute little ideas. So I'll just pop my bow back on here. How's everyone's week been? Have you been doing anything exciting? We've had 2 beautiful days the last 2 days, although very cold mornings. Winter is definitely coming. I think this winter is going to be very, very cold. Okay, I could have done a better bow than that, but anyway. Oh, Rachel likes the Biscoff. Fantastic. So these are the 4 projects that we're going to do. I'm just going to quickly show you this beautiful DSP. This is the Tea Boutique Designer Series paper. It comes in 6x6. Really, really pretty teapots and teacups. We've got flowers as usual. And then on the other side, we have more of the bold colours. So obviously this isn't a full pack. This is actually a quarter pack of the beautiful DSP. I just thought I'd make it a little bit more manageable. Hi, Crystal. Joining from Arkansas. Well, welcome. Okay, and obviously the cup of tea. This is the stamp set. There's 20 photopolymer stamp sets, and there's 17 dies in that pack. So that is what we're going to be focusing on. Alrighty, let me bring in the first project. So we're going to do the handbag first, and I'm going to whip through these. Let me just also remind anyone who is ordering tonight or this weekend up until Monday morning using the host code, I have a project sheet that I'll email everyone who purchases, and that gives you all the measurements and all you need for the treats. Alright. So I have done a few things beforehand just to speed up the process. Making 4 projects can be a little bit of time. So I have a tea bag dipper that is in garden green. I've got sweet sorbet and crushed curry flowers. I've just die cut from the die set, and I've got 2 straps here in garden green, and I have also for our latch here I've used the painted texture. I think that's what it's called. Not sure now. And I've already run that through, so we have petal pink card base, and look at that texture on it. It's absolutely gorgeous. So to start off, we have a piece of 6x6 cardstock. We're going to do a little bit of scoring. I'm going to bring my school board in. Paper trimmer actually, isn't it? And we're going to score at 2 1/4. And 3 3/4. Then we're going to turn to the left, and then we're going to score at 1 3/4 and 4 1/4. Okay, and that's going to make our little bag that we have there. Fold and score. I really love these beautiful flowers here, which makes a nice little bag. Hi Cheryl, how are you? Okay, so I'm going to bring my paper snips in. We're going to cut up to that score line on all 4 sides, on the 2 sides, but the 4 score lines. So a pretty basic box. And then to pop it together, that's what we're going to do. So I'm actually going to turn it the right side round. I'm going to add tear and tape. You could use liquid glue on the 4 corners. And then there's a little bit of an overhang on our side of our bag that we're actually going to fold over, and it just finishes off the box really nicely. So I find tear and tape to work really well. It's a very strong glue, and once you've got your box together, it's not going to go anywhere. But our liquid adhesive works just as well. But for my lives, I won't end up with a whole heap of liquid glue on my fingers, so that's always my main reason for tear and tape. I think everyone should have tear and tape in their arsenal of adhesives. Okay. So I'm going to take 2 sides off at a time. How's the weather been everywhere? Have you had cold mornings? Well, not too bad. So we're just going to line up our corners, pop them together. There we go. And doing the same on the other side. I absolutely love making little treat ideas, so hopefully you enjoy these as well. Cold, frosty. Oh, Judith's paper share arrived. That's awesome. It really was a beautiful day today. Okay, so we're going to line up the edges again. And our other one. Perfect. So you can see that little bit of an overhang. I'm just going to pop that down and over on both sides. And I'm going to run a little bit of tear and tape on those edges as well. Hot and muggy for Crystal. You can certainly have that. I would much prefer cooler weather. I'm not going to complain at all. So I'm just running just a little strip of that tear and tape down. Is it unusual to be hot and muggy already, Crystal, in Arkansas, or is that normal for this time of year? So just folding that down. And this really makes the box look super professional. Look at that for inside. Now, if you would like, you can push your corners in and collapse it a little bit. I really like that it's not quite nice and big there. Okay, for our handles, we're going to also add a little bit more tear and tape to the ends. And I find the tear and tape will be fine to hold it into place. I can actually hang on to this bag with the contents in without any issues. And I'm just going to add just a little bit on the bottoms. If I thought about it, I probably could have added that before to make it a little bit quicker for you. That's all right. You can watch me put some tear and tape on. So for all the little treats, I've just grabbed things from Woolworths. So any supermarket you would be able to get them from. I think even Aldi has a lot of different things now. I'm always on the lookout for little treat ideas. So I've attached that one. I'm just twisting it around, and I'm going to adhere this one down as well. I like to have those big straps, pushing that into place so it has a good fixture. Then we can do the other side. So I've pulled these colours from the DSP. Depending on what DSP you use, or if you use a different piece of DSP for this bag from that Tea Boutique DSP, you can change the colour of your straps and also your latch. So just pressing those down really nicely and firm. Perfect. So nice big handles. You want to make sure that they are the same length. So you want to be careful with that. Now you can either leave this squared. I'm actually going to bring in a punch, which is retired, but Stampin' Up don't have a corner rounder anymore. So I'm going to use this one, which is a retired one. But most people have one in their stash anyway, a corner rounder. And I'm going to do that to all 4 sides. There we go. And to attach this one, I'm going to add, once again, a little bit of tear and tape. And this is going to be attached to the back of our bag. So when you're looking at the bag, although most of the latch is covered up, I think I can see most of the flower here. So I want this one to be the front. So I can glue this to the back. Like that. Just going to go through. Let me grab our treats for this one. So I have these Loca Tortina original biscuits. I'm probably saying them wrong, but they come individually wrapped, which is so cute. And I've got some Twinings Australian afternoon tea. And these are pre-wrapped. Twinings do some really great teas that come individually wrapped, which are perfect for these type of treat ideas. So I'm just going to pop them in. Super cute. I'm going to grab a mini glue dot. I want to secure it down, but I want to be able to lift it up without completely breaking the handbag as well. So a mini glue dot is really good for this. If you use tear and tape, you could probably use just a tiny bit. Maybe take a little bit of the tack off when you're placing it down. And I could probably even take a little bit of the tack off this as well. And by taking the tack off, you're just going to put your fingers on it a little bit. Perfect. So cute, isn't it? All right, so let's finish it off. We have the garden green tea bag tag, and I've grabbed out sweet sorbet and crushed curry. I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of those. And I've popped both of them up, but a little trick I've done here with the crushed curry is I've placed one down, taken the backing off, and then I'm going to add a second one down. So we're effectively adding 2 dimensionals there to pop that up quite a bit. So I'm going to add, just going to use some liquid glue for the tea bag, which to me this looks like a perfect little latch on the flap. I think I called this a latch before, but I suppose it's more of a flap of your handbag. So we can pop down our red flower first. So there's some really great dies in that set. There's actually more dies than there are stamps, which means that you've got lots and lots of variety. Pop this one down. So cute. And then I've actually grabbed some pearls. I had some pearls sitting in my desk caddy here. I've got lots and lots of pearls that I need to use. I go through stages where I use a ton of them and then I don't use them at all. Right back onto, oops, let's put that on straight. Right back onto our rhinestones because I love to colour with our stamping blends. And okay, so these ones are attached. We no longer have, this is an old sheet obviously, where these ones were attached, but they're no longer attached. And then I've got just a smaller one to pop down as well. If you're making these at home, use what you have in your stash. That would work. Alrighty, so that is our first project. How cute is that? Can you imagine giving that to someone as a little thank you or a get well? You could put maybe some vitamin C tablets or something like that inside as well. Lots of different things you could put in. All right, so we're going to move on to our second treat. That's going to be this one here. Let me get my kit. We have Orchid Oasis as our cardstock. I'm just cleaning up as I go, otherwise I'm going to have a mess everywhere. We have a piece of that beautiful DSP. Now just quickly, I'll let you know some of the measurements in case you want to make this at home, but if you're placing an order, you will get the project sheet with all the dimensions on there. Orchid Oasis cardstock is 2 3/4 by 8.5, and the Tea Boutique DSP measures 2 5/8 by 3. All right, so I'm going to grab, and I've also got 2 little tea bag dippers in Fresh Freesia and Basic White, but we're going to just make our treat holder first off. And for this, we're going to do a little bit of scoring. We're going to score at 3/4 of an inch, 3 7/8, 4 5/8, okay, and 7 3/4. To make that a little bit bigger, 7 3/4. Pretty simple, isn't it? You could definitely sit and make these while you're watching TV. If you're making these as thank you gifts. If you had book club, maybe, you could make a little treat for everyone, or just a friendship club. Maybe preschool groups, depends on what you're part of. But this makes a cute little box. We're going to pop our Biscoff biscuits. So they come in a pack. There's 8 in this one, and I got these at Woolworths, so you can find them. Also already pre-packaged, which is fantastic. Makes it nice and easy. And I've also got another Australian afternoon tea bag. For attaching our tea bag, I'm just going to use a glue dot. Again, this is going to hold it in place. I've just popped it in the middle, but it's not going to wreck everything. So there we have that one. For our biscuits, we're just going to fold them over, and I'm going to grab some sticky tape. And I'm going to glue them, I'm going to sticky tape them together so they don't move apart. And the other thing that I found, which I thought was a really great idea, is just to sticky tape the edges back. That way they don't stick out from the side of the box either. But if you don't want to do this, you don't have to. It's not a... not something that really has to be done. All right. And now for these ones, you can either add glue dots, which is what I'm going to do here. And I'm hoping 2 will hold it. I might put another one in the middle. They do have a little bit of weight, but we're just holding them into place because it does shut close. And because they're glued together, or sticky tape together, that will really help as well. Okay. It's going to fold up. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to add our DSP to the front. I'm just going to use some liquid adhesive. We're using that beautiful in colour ribbon, which is the Orchid Oasis, same colour as the front or the box of our treat holder here. And I am using 3 of the 5 in colour ribbons on these 4 treats, so that's always fun. Okay, so that didn't hold it. What I might do is, I think from memory, I did use a little bit of tear and tape, so I think I'll do that instead. We don't want them falling out when we give them to someone. Try not to squish the biscuits, so that's probably a little bit as well. I don't want to break the biscuits up by pushing down too much. Alright, so we have our 2 little tags. Gonna grab that little sentiment, and it says it's time for tea, which is some really great little ones to go on the tea bag handles. Not really even sure what they're called. I drink pots of tea, not tea bags, so that's my excuse for not knowing what they're called. The jinglers, janglers, I'm not sure. All right, we're going to bring in the Orchid Oasis ink pad, and this is the first of our stamping. Did you notice that? There's a lot of making and not a lot of stamping on these. And I'm just going to stamp that in the middle. These are photopolymer, so they make it really easy to get your positioned correctly because you can see straight through. Tea tag. Thank you, Carolyn. That does sound probably a little bit better, doesn't it? And then I'm going to grab my hole punch and pop them together. And I just want to pop a little hole in there. Now, this isn't a Stampin' Up! One. I have had this for donkey's years. I don't even think Stampin' Up! Have them in stock anymore, hole punches. So use what you have. I'm just going to add a little hole there. And then now that we have those 2 holes there, I'm going to grab a dimensional, pop it on the fresh freezer, and then line them up. So we have lots of dimension, but you can still see the fresh freezer one in the background. Okay, and now we can start adding our ribbons. So we're using the Orchid Oasis, and I probably did that wrong. I should have popped that through, but it'll be fine. So I've actually popped it in behind the white tea tag. This one's going to be a little bit different because I'm not going to be able to get that there now. This ribbon is like mesh, so it's a little hard to thread through. There we go. And this will be fine because we are going to add a dimensional behind our tag to keep it in place. I just want to work out how much ribbon I need. to tie a nice little bow up top. I think that'll be fine. So we can add another dimensional behind the tag. Push that down, and then we can tie our little bow up top. Oh, so I've missed a lot of comments. I'll have a look in just a minute, guys. It's very hard to read comments and craft at the same time and talk. You guys have been following me for long enough. You know how hard it is for me. How cute is that? And I haven't double bowed that. I've left that nice and loose so they can take it apart and do it back up again. Isn't that cute? And we're not finished. Let's bring in those 2022-2024 in colour matte decorative dots. These are amazing. They come in all 5 of the in colours. There we go. There's a sweet sorbet at the top. The other great thing is they're in ombre, so they go from the very dark to the light as well, which is always nice. And I'm going to add one of our little Orchid Oasis ones just there as well. Okay. And I will be using them a little bit, so that's a must. How cute is this? So another little great little treat, small enough to give out to friends and family, and really quite inexpensive as well. You've got a tea bag and 2 packs of biscuits out of a pack of 8, so you could make 4 of these with one 8-pack. All right, so let me have a quick look at our comments to see what I've missed, and then we'll go on to the 3rd project. It was a beautiful day today. Deborah doesn't like the cold. Hi Ingrid, how are you? It's okay, you're late. No problem. Okay, so it's normal for hot and muggy at this time of year, Crystal. Wow, I don't think I could do that hot and muggy. I've lived up in Northern Territory in Queensland where it's really hot and muggy, and I couldn't do it again. I'm going to be using the set in the fall. Can't contemplate hot tea right now. Yeah, fair enough. Marion says hot tea cools you down. It's 3 a.m. Oh wow, Crystal. That's amazing that you're still awake. Carolyn had to get your fire going before you jumped on. Fair enough. It is cold. You want to warm that house up. Oh, Judith discovered the biscuits, Biscoff biscuits in England a few years ago. So that's where they come from England. Nice. They actually are really nice. I had the first one the other day. I'd never had them before. Thank you, Deborah. I can sometimes do more than one things, but yeah, sometimes I'm not very capable doing craft, talking, and reading comments. Can't expect too much from me. All right, so that's number 2 of our 4 treats. The next one we're going to do is our triangle treat holder. I want to grab out my kit. There's actually a fair few pieces to this kit. Get rid of that one. And what we have in the kit is, I grabbed one of these Lindt Lindor chocolates. I'm not a big fan of chocolate, so I wouldn't know what they taste like. And when I do eat chocolate, I only eat Cadbury chocolate. I'm a bit of a chocolate snob when it comes to that. And then I also grabbed some of these Nescafe mocha chocolate sachets as well. I don't drink coffee either, so once I've done these ones, I'll be giving them to my son because I think he drinks the mocha. He's not a big coffee drinker either, but he does like the mocha. Alrighty, I wanted to do something a little bit not just for tea drinkers, because I know not everyone drinks tea, so this is a good one if you're a coffee drinker. Alright, so we have beautiful Tahitian Tide as our card base here. I've also already cut down 3 strips of our DSP. These measure 1 by 6 inches, I believe. Let me grab my project sheet just to make sure I'm telling you the right thing. Yeah, 1 by 6 centimeters for the DSP, and then we have Starry Sky. These are 1.5 by 6.5, and these are going to layer onto our treat holder. I've pre-die cut Tahitian Tide teacup and also a tag. What did you call it? Sorry, tea tag. And a sweet sorbet heart. So super cute. We're also going to be using some baker's twine in white. So from that kit. Oh, from the baker's twine essentials pack. Something like that. Now, Tahitian Tide cardstock. This measures 5 1/4 by 9 inches. We're going to do a little bit of scoring to create our little treat holder. We're going to score on the 9-inch side. Let's open it up. Pop it down. So 9-inch side, we're going to score at 1 1/8 inches. So 1 1/8 inches. So that's 1 inch on either side from the ends. And then we're going to turn it to the 5 1/4 side. And we're going to score at 1 1/2 inches. Hi Glenda, how are you? 3 inches and 4 1/2 inches. Now this gives us our 3 sides of our box and also a narrow strip for our tab, but we also need to create the ends, so these ones here. So for that, we actually need to mark halfway between each corner. So to do that, we're going to mark at top and bottom at 3/4 of an inch. I'm just going to use my stylus. You could use a pen as well. And I'm doing top and bottom. 2 1/4 inch. And our next one is 3 7/8. Okay. Do some quick folding and scoring of our little treat holder. While we're doing that, don't forget any orders using the host code, this one here for the biggest morning tea, 25% of your order will be going to the biggest morning tea donation. And yeah, it's a great cause. You're getting craft supplies at the same time, so it's not actually costing you any extra. So yeah, I'd love it if you took part. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to place keep banging my light. What we want to do is we want to score from that mark that we've made halfway in between each of our sides to each of our corners. And you probably can get away with actually not doing that. Depends on how clever you are. I'll do one, and then you can choose if you make these at home, if you go ahead and do that for all of them, or if you do what I'm going to show you. Okay. So you can see that we've scored from that mark to each of the corners. I'm going to bring my paper snips in. We're going to cut, so we have the 3 large rectangles here and then that smaller rectangle. So we're going to take that small rectangle off completely. And then we're going to make from that mark to the corner, and we're just going to cut. So we're making strong triangles. Don't know whether you guys can hear one of my dogs barking. She's actually barking at the bigger dog to play. So you could make this design for pencils as well if you're making for a, so let's take off that smaller one first. Let's not confuse you. And then from our mark to our edge. Yeah, you could make pencils using this exact same design. So this would be in yellow, because most school pencils are yellow, or is that just a fallacy? I'm not sure. I always think of them as yellow, whereas I think my kids always had blue or red pencils. Now that I think about it, not yellow. Maybe that's an American thing. Not sure. Okay. So we've done all our scoring for our box. It's going to fold together just like that. So along our tab here, we're going to grab some more tear and tape. This has been my favourite, obviously, in the whole workshop tonight. But it is super easy to use, very hard wearing, and nothing's going to fall apart. And I'm not going to end up with sticky fingers either. So running 2 strips along. And we're just going to line our edges up. Perfect. I'm also going to try and run my bone folder down and in just to press it down to get a good strong hold. There we go. I'm going to pop one side down first, and this is also another thing, whether you glue it down. I think I glued one side down on my sample, and then the other one I just used mini glue dots, but I'm just going to add don't know whether that's going to be strong enough. Just going to add a couple of glue dots down. Actually, mini glue dots are not sticking so well, so I'm going to add just a little bit of tear and tape. So one side I want to have completely shut. The other side. There we have it. So it doesn't reach all the way to the ends. I don't think it matters. I think that comes off really quite nicely anyway. We're going to add our packet in and our chocolate. And this is quite filling, so you've got to move around your pieces a little. I might put the chocolate in first. The coffee can sort of bend around it a little bit to make it easy. There we have it. That's better. And you know what? I'm just going to add tear and tape to this side as well. If they want to keep it, they just have to open it really carefully. And if you're just putting little bits of tear and tape down, they'll be able to tear it off really gently and it might not fall completely apart. Alrighty. So I want to make sure where my fold is, or where we've joined it together. I'm going to make sure that's on the bottom. I'm going to bring in, put them all there as well. Now when I cut my DSP, obviously this was the top piece, it's the second piece, this is the third piece. I want to make sure that my top piece, or my best design piece, is going to be at the front. And we're actually going to be adding them to the starry sky. So our DSP measures 1 by 6 inches. The starry sky is 1.5 by 6.5. So we have a nice, beautiful border, and the starry sky actually covers the Tahitian tide. So you could make it a little bit smaller if you want to still see the Tahitian tide. I wanted too much glue. I wanted it to actually look, had a really nice border all the way around it, so that's why I went with the 6.5 by 1.5. And our last piece. Okay. And I'm just going to use liquid adhesive to place these on the treat holder as well. Now the other thing that you could do if you didn't want to use starry sky or another piece of DSP is another piece of cardstock, is you could also add your DSP to be a little bit bigger, or you could stamp the background before you create your triangle treat holder, and that will give it a nice background as well without adding extra bulk. So we're just pushing these down and I'm just turning it around. And adding my third one. Perfect. That needs a little bit more glue. I have a habit of not putting liquid adhesive too close to the edge, because otherwise I end up having it spew out. But anyway, that's good. All right, so now we can start decorating. For the decoration, like I said, we have already pre-die cut the Tahitian Tide cup, starry sky, tag, and sweet sorbet heart. We're going to do the sentiment, stamping the sentiment of take care of yourself, which I thought's a really nice sentiment to add to a little treat holder. And we're going to Versamark heat emboss on that teacup. So we've got Versamark ink, stamp that down, and then I've got my white embossing powder, because you knew I couldn't not use my heat embossing. It had to come out at some point. And the white embossed on this Tahitian Tide is really pretty. It stands out. It's almost, you know how like the darker the colours of cardstock, the more heat embossing stands out. This one actually really stands out beautifully as well. So I have my heat tool here. We're just going to turn it on and heat it up and melt that powder. So you'll know it's ready. It'll melt down and become nice and glossy and shiny. Perfect. Right, while we let that dry, because it will just take just a few seconds to dry, I want to bring in my baker's twine, just the Whisper White baker's twine, or basic white. It's not really Whisper White anymore, is it? I'm going to add a little bit more tear and tape to the back of that Starry Sky tea tag. And going to stick that in it. We also want to put a dimensional down because we're going to pop him up. So that will keep the baker's twine down as well. I'm going to add down onto my teacup, and then we can just cut off a little bit of this twine. And I want it to sort of float around a little bit on the back of the teacup, so just like that. Secure it again with some more tear and tape. You would think I go through a ton of tear and tape, and I probably do, but it does last quite a long time. So cute. I'm going to grab a mini dimensional, or you can cut down, actually, let's cut down just a bones piece for our heart. And we can pop that down onto the, oh, try that again. And I'm going to grab a Wink of Stella. You don't have to use the Wink of Stella, but this will give us a nice little shine to it as well. Okay. This is a metallic woven ribbon. Comes in all 5 of the in colours. I'm going to make a nice little bow. Well, it's going to be a fake bow with the ribbon. So it's as easy as that. Just maneuver it around to make a faux bow. Going to stick that behind the teacup, and you guessed it, a little bit more tear and tape. Oop. It's a little bit bigger than I need, so I'm just going to take the backing off, which is not working too well for me. Just cut it off. And I like to take the backing off because as I'm placing dimensionals down over the top, if you leave the backing on, it doesn't stick down quite so well. So don't do that. Pull them off. All right. And then we can stick him down there, just like that. Got to glue that down a little bit better, but how cute is that? Coffee and a chocolate treat. So that's our third one. Again, really simple, especially if you're doing your die cutting beforehand. That makes it really easy to pop your treats together. but super simple to quickly score and cut and create. So there we go. Alrighty, let me bring our last one in. I hope you're enjoying these, guys. So we have a little treat box that's holding a mini roll. So one of these. If you're looking for these are actually in the cake area in Woolworths. They're not in the chocolate area, where you get all those cakes and breads and all that sort of stuff. And we've got a tea bag as well. So this one's actually made with sweet sorbet, which is again one of our new in colours. I have pre-die cut a circle from the gorgeous dies. These are the stylish shape dies from the annual catalogue. These are a must-have. You are going to see me use these a ton. They're like the stitch shapes that retired, but these are better because there's actually more nesting circles and squares than we had in the previous ones. The other ones only had 3, I think, in each of the shapes, but we've got more. So you're going to use these a ton. These are a definite must-have. So I've pre-done that one already. I've got some crumb cake to do our cup. Got a piece of white for some stamping that we're going to do. I have 2 pieces of our DSP. Now this one's measure, let me have a quick look. 6 inches by 1.5. We're going to actually adhere them together to make our belly band. It's not big enough. With our 6x6 DSP, it's a little bit harder to make treats when you need longer pieces, but you can join them together, especially when you've got designs that it doesn't matter if they don't completely match up, so that's always really good. And we have a piece of sweet sorbet card. This is 4 5/8 by 11 inches. We're going to do some scoring to create a little treat holder. Once again, opening up, move some of our things, and I'm starting to get no room on my desk, so we'll try as best as we can. Alrighty, so we're going to score this on the 4 5/8 inch side at 1 inch. As well as 3 5/8 of an inch. And then turning to the 11 inch side, we're going to score at 1 inch. Two inches, 6 inches and 7 inches. Okay. Let's do some folding and scoring. Bring my bone folder in. The sweet sorbet is more of a red than a pink. I will happily admit it's not my favourite in colour, but I know a lot of people really like it, so I'm not complaining. Alright, so I need to get my template out to make sure I'm doing the right thing. We have our 2 little score lines here. That is the top. What we're going to do is in these 4 little squares that we have here, we're going to do a little bit of scoring with our score line, our scoring tool. Oh, it's gone out of my head, sorry guys. And what we're going to do is we want to go from the edge here to that corner. So we have a huge big rectangle here. This is the base of our box, and these 4 sides are going to create the box. So what we're going to do is we want to go from this score line to that inner score line of the rectangle, and we're going to do that for all of those 4, scoring from the outside to that inside piece, and I'll show you that so it makes a little bit more sense once they are done. So when you have have this down that large rectangle with the two score lines at the top. This is going to be the base of your box, and you want to score into that box. Okay. So when we fold this down, what we want to do, let me bring the box in. Sometimes it's really hard to explain. So these are glued down on these corners, and that creates when you fold it up, it creates that box. You see that? Right. So what I want to do is I just want to score on that line. There we go. So we're giving those nice crisp score lines. And that'll help the box to go together. There we go. So let me turn it this way and show you. We're going to add some glue, and this keeps these pieces down, so when you're folding up it creates your corners. And you could use liquid glue. I'm actually going to use my tear and tape because that will make it just as easy. And we're going to pop them on this side, on the inside. So I'll put them down on all four sides, and then I'll bring it up and show you. So one there, one there. And the last one. As you can see, so we have our two score lines. This is part of our second score line, and we're adding it to the inside piece. And there we go. This is not on the right spot, so let me take this off. Sorry guys. I was looking at the wrong spot on my sample. Easy to take off. And it's going to be the opposite side. There we go. All right. Taking the backings off. Stylus, thanks Marion. So we're just folding down and pushing down on that area. Same here. Perfect. There we have it. Now to actually be able to pop, because this is a self-closing sort of box, this goes inside, we are going to have to cut down this just slightly. I'm just doing a bit of a miter cut. You don't want to take too much off because then it won't stay in place. So it's better to take a little bit not enough off, and then take a little bit more off if need be. Please don't make me lie. There we go. So that's perfect. Let's pop our little treats inside. Could probably even take those off. Let's take those off as well. Or glue them down. No, let's glue them. So this will just give that closure a little bit more sturdiness. Perfect. So we have a tea bag. It's going to go in there perfectly. And one of those mini rolls. Let's bring it in. We can close this all up now. I'm going to bring in, there's 2 teacups in this set. One has the stripes, this one has a beautiful detail in it. We're going to stamp that one down. We're going to heat emboss this one, so using our white embossing powder again. Let's bring our Versamark in. If you're making a ton of these, what I highly recommend doing is actually die cutting all your teacups first, and then setting up a jig with your Stamparatus if you have one, and it'll make it so much easier to create a ton of them. Much quicker than doing it this way. Does everyone know what I mean by when I say set up a jig? Creating your own jig. Because I do have one ready to go. I can show you. So let me know if you're interested. I'm just going to bring the heat tool in and melt that powder again. And the white embossing powder with crumb cake is really nice. Stands out a ton. Oh, thank you, Judith. I do love making these sorts of projects, so... Okay. Oh, I don't know whether the handle is quite done. There we go. So you could leave it like that. I actually really liked adding a little bit of colour to it, as you can see. And for that, I've just got my crumb cake ink pad, and I've got one of my water painters. And I'm just going to add a little bit of colour in each of those leaves. It's not a lot of effort, but I think it really stands out. Those leaves really stand out then. And depending on how much colour you're popping down, you could go over it twice. For my sample, I did go over it twice, so we'll wait and see how dark. Yeah, it goes into the cardstock a little bit, so let's go back over super quickly. Heaps better painted, absolutely. It doesn't take much to just add that little bit of extra detail. Okay. before I put it back. There we go. So I can move that to the side. Let's bring in our little piece of scrap white and our crumb cake circle. We're going to grab a few more stamps out. So I've added the little flower background on the crumb cake, and then there is also a big flower stamp in here. I'm going to grab that one out. And I need crushed curry ink, and I'm just going to stamp in the background. That'll be covered by our teacup. And then our little flowers, I'm going to have one in petal pink and then two in sweet sorbet. Thank you for sticking with me, everyone. I know this is a little bit longer. I really appreciate you guys sticking with me. So once again, not a lot of stamping. Let's move these out of the road. I'm going to bring in my little mini cut and emboss to do our cutting. Okay, so Carolyn didn't know what I was talking about. Let me quickly show you. So when you're making quite a few projects using the same thing, well, you can do this with anything. Cut all your images out and then just grab, this is just a little bit thicker paper. It's photocopy paper, but it's a little bit thicker. You could also use old cardstock that you have. Die cut your shape so you've got a nice little border all the way around. Then you can add it into your stamparatus, pop your stamp down inside that jig. Let me grab that stamp really quick. So I'll take it off the backing. It will go and sit in perfectly inside that jig. And then if you add your plate down, pick your stamp up, and as long as you keep that in that corner, so use your magnets to keep this down, you then pop in all your die cut pieces, so one in at a time, stamp it, and then it makes it so much faster, and you'll actually use less cardstock as well because you've already pre-die cut all your pieces. So that is a really good tip. So make sure if you're making a few of the same cards, or you need quite a few die cuts of one card, I would highly recommend doing that technique. Alrighty, so going to die cut the teacup. If you're only doing one, you could just do what I've done here. But once you've made one of those jigs, you could always put it inside your case, so you've got it at all times. Or if you pop them somewhere where you know where they are. So we have that one. And then we're going to get our little flowers. I'm going to grab the die. Does anyone else struggle doing this as well? I think that's all right. Okay. I know some demonstrators can just look at it and know what way it goes. I am not one of those demonstrators. This one, the little mini, is great for videos. It's not taking up as much room as the bigger one. And I don't think it shakes the camera as much. Well, I'm hoping it doesn't anyway. Finish with the mini. Bring our DSP in, our die cuts. Let's add our belly band. For that, I'm going to add tear and tape to the base of one of our pieces. Once again, this measures 6 inches by 1.5 inches. And we're just going to line that up below. We want it to be loose enough that you can pull it on and off, but not too loose that it doesn't stay on properly. So I'm just wrapping it around, pinching our edges. And then I'm actually gonna give it a little bit of a press. It's actually pretty DSP, this one. It has the crushed curry and the petal pink in it. There we go. I'm going to add a little bit more tear and tape. Lining the edges up so they match up. Awesome. Right. Going to pop our circle down. I'm just going to use one strip of tear and tape to get on the middle. Okay, now we're going to bring some glue dots in to attach our flowers. I want to add wrong way. There's a longer part on that flower. We're going to add the glue dot into that piece. And then just on the edge of our cup, like that. And then I'm going to do the same with our petal pink one, but we're gluing it to the side of the sweet sorbet one. Okay. Our third one, I'm going to use just a dimensional to give it an extra bit of pop-up. And this one's a really tiny one, so I'm just going to use a cut down piece. Like that. I can stick that down there. And let's add some dimensionals to pop that down to the crushed curry card piece. So you want to make sure that there's enough adhesive because you are going to be taking the belly band on and off. There we go. And to decorate this, I have the sweet sorbet metallic woven ribbon. So we've used this in Orchid Oasis as well as Tahitian Tide and now Sweet Sorbet. Can do a little tiny bow. Cute. Just cut that down a little. And to secure that down, we're going to use a glue dot. Because our bow there is quite small, I'm actually going to roll my glue dot so it's a little bit smaller. There we go. Attach that to the rim of the teacup, just under where the flowers are. And our last little embellishments, I have some basic rhinestones, but you could also use those matte decorative dots. They would work really well. Oh. My desk has everything all over it, so I can't see what I'm looking for. That's all right, we'll just use the scissors. I think I've done well to do 4 projects. Usually I only do 1 project and I don't have any room on my desk, so that's pretty good going. Awesome. So there's our 4th little project. Isn't that adorable? Once again, you could also stamp your cardstock before placing your box together, and that would jazzy it up as well. That's super cute ideas. Let me bring in all 4 projects for you to see. I'll take that one out. That one and that one. How gorgeous are they? So don't forget, this is a fundraiser for the Biggest Morning Tea, the Cancer Council of Australia. Any orders using this host code here, my full commission of 25% will be going to the Biggest Morning Tea. I have this host code available till Monday morning. I'll close it on Monday morning, so you have plenty of time to purchase from my online store. If you have friends or family that craft and would like to also give to this great charity, you can send them over to my online store. Give them this video link as well so they can watch it, they can see what it's all about. Anyone who does order will receive the project sheets for all these projects, so you can make them at home as well. But yeah, all right, let me pop the camera up really quickly. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. I really do appreciate your time. I know it's a little bit longer than our normal videos, but I appreciate everyone sticking with me. I love making these projects, so I might end up doing another workshop again soon, because it's always so much fun. Alright, so I'll be here on Sunday for Tracy's Sunday Challenge. If you're interested, join me at 8:30, and even if you're not live, you can watch the replay. If you haven't hit subscribe, please do that, and I would love it if you gave me a thumbs up and maybe even shared the video. That would be awesome. Alright, have a wonderful night, everyone. Thank you so much again, and I'll hope to see you all really soon. Okay, bye-bye.